Hello, everyone. This is the PressPlay Lifestyle Inspired Podcast. It's a podcast that does interviews with people like my friend here, Susie, on topics to help our listeners, that's you, find the resources, tools, and support that they need to be their best inspired self. So how are you today, Susie?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I've had a great day today, so I'm excited.
Yeah,
It's been good.
Thank you for having me on. I'm super excited.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'm glad we got on too. I know both of us busy moms. We've been like you and I've been missing each other for like 6 weeks, I think.
I think, yeah, it's been a while.
So I think I've researched our stuff a couple of times.
Yeah.
But hey, that's kind of how life goes. So I was, one of the reasons I invite people to the podcast is because I like to inspire other women who are trying to get it done, right? Trying to get it done with life showing up. And you and I have some common interests, and I find anyone that can make it through our lives pretty inspiring. So as for the little bit that I know in terms of personal side is like you run your own wonderful branding agency, but you're also a mom, and you also have some special circumstances. So is there anything like that you're willing to share with the audience about kind of how you're managing all of that?
I mean, time management's huge, and having a schedule is huge for sure. I'm a single mom. I have a special needs kid. He's autistic. He's 4 years old, and he's nonverbal. So we are always in and out of appointments. I drive like a half hour to drop him off at ABA for therapy and stuff during the day. So it allows me to have that time to work, and then sometimes at night I do some work or whatever, but really having a time schedule has helped because I literally have every minute maxed out, but at the same time taking care of myself and my son. So it's just, it's busy, but it's good, but we have a system down and we're structured. So it works so well for both of us, and we're able to have mommy and me time and stuff like that, because that's just so important.
Wow, that's crazy. I love it. So oddly, I don't think that's how we met, but I also have a child on the spectrum, and she was nonverbal until about the same age. And her first word was bird. Like not mom, not dad, bird. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
So we did ABA for 4 years.
Yeah.
I live in Wisconsin, and ABA is only in home. So you had to have someone at home. So the reason I transitioned from my career as it was to my career as it is was that we had to have someone literally in the home with the therapy for those 4 years. Recently, within the last year, she actually went to school full time with some support there. Yeah, I know. So it's similar, like you said, the routine and having sort of that timing has been great for us. But with all of that going on, first of all, your website is gorgeous. Visions2Images.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. And one of the things I thought was really inspiring or wonderful in my perspective is you have your freebie, your giveaway is actually valuable. I mean, it's like it gives people an opportunity to kind of look at the brand another way. So I was curious if you could just tell us a little bit about your company and what you do for people in terms of branding, anything else that you find important. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing there.
Yeah, so it's kind of evolved to be the branding digital agency essentially. So I'm very, very hard on being cohesive and consistent with branding. Before I came into my business, I worked in an agency for a long time, and it was like a startup business. So I saw a lot of ins and outs and a lot of failures and a lot of successes. And I loved the client interaction, and there was just so much diversity of the services that we offered, and I loved everything about that. And then I ended up moving to Ohio, and I took a corporate job, and I hated it. And I started to kind of just see everything from a new perspective and kind of see that there's so many opportunities out there. In corporate, I felt like I just wasn't creative, and there was just so many hands in the pie, and it was just a nightmare. So that's when that's when my son got diagnosed with autism. So I left the corporate world to kind of help him and get myself on track with him. And then that's when I started to see the business end of things. So essentially it's grown. When you first start off, it's just kind of I'll offer things here and there for this price and that price. But now I'm at this level where I work with corporations and larger businesses. So I really help them be consistent and cohesive in a variety of ways and create like an unforgettable vision identity. I do everything from the logos to the colors to the fonts for mid-sized businesses owners that are like, yeah, I need to rebrand. But once they get that rebrand done, or they're in a corporation, they need more than that. So I really dive in and do a lot of strategy and help with branding in that sense, and then offer implementation for like social media, email campaigns, websites, SEO, just a bunch of things. Like there's just so many things to offer, and each customer is so unique. So it really depends on what they need, and I'm not going to sell something that they don't need in a sense. So there's a lot of different avenues to go with that.
So I know what assuming does, but I would say it sounds like you do a lot of consultative consulting. So you kind of work through to understand where they are, what their vision is, and then help them figure out if they don't know what they need, what they do need. Is that?
Yeah, that's the starting point for everybody, essentially. I mean, I'll work with smaller to mid-sized businesses on that end, and then implement, like, I have a team, I have a web developer person who can implement all that stuff, and then work with him to monitor and make sure everything's going smoothly. I have an SEO person. So there's a lot of avenues we can go. Like if they just say, I want to implement it myself, okay, here's what you need to do, here's how you do it, here's a timeline, here you go. Or if they have somebody in-house, because they might have somebody in-house too. So there's a lot of different ways, but we always start with strategy, like consulting kind of stuff, and see where they're at, where they want to go, what can be improved, and how to develop it.
Yeah, that's great. I saw too, one of the things everyone loves, I say tchotchkes, but apparently that's an old word, not everyone uses it. So promotional items, where you go to like a fun vendor event and you get the pen with the name on it or something like that. What are some of your favorite promo items that you were able to create for people? Like, have you done anything unique, or are you mostly like t-shirt smackers, or what's your sort of favorite product?
I don't know if we've done anything unique in a while. A lot of it is pens. We do some church envelope gatherings. Back when I was in the agency world, we did a big campaign for firefighters, and they did calendars and like little, they're not mugs, but they're like tumblers almost. So they were really fun with that end of things. And then we did some cutouts and some big posters and stuff. So that's probably like the funner stuff. But I love pens. I love notebooks. I have Post-it notes. I have like a microfiber cloth. I love all of it, really. So there's just,
like, look, my stuff.
Yeah, there's just so many different things, and it depends on what you want to spend and who you're reaching and all that. But a lot of it is very generic in a sense that it's pens and whatever else.
Kind of the things that you can do at a trade show, and like mugs and t-shirts, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, one of my favorite things that I think I see an image on your site of it is, and it sounds so silly for me, but I love aprons. But the only way you can get an apron is kind of through a promo thing. Like it's not like a thing that I see as much out anymore. It used to a lot. My grandmother raised me for a while, and you would always find that kind of stuff, as sort of more prevalent. But now I seem to only see it when it's branded type stuff. So it's like, oh,
that's interesting. Yeah.
So it's with all the different things that you offer. It sounds like you said you have a web person. So it doesn't sound like it's your one man show or one lady show anymore either. Have you kind of grown since you came on? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's amazing to have, I mean, it's subcontract work, but they're like, they're contractors. So they're not employees, but it's good to have those people and then like overview and monitor them in a sense, because I did wear myself down for a while, and I'm still like trying to find more people in 2020. So I'm trying to figure out, actually, like right now, I'm trying to figure out who I need, because my head's in a million ways. I'm like, do I need a VA? Do I need an editor? Because I used to have an editor. And it's just, there's just so much to it. So I'm trying to figure out, you definitely need to outsource and keep that time going and keep your clients happy. So
it's amazing. I think people don't always realize, I know I'm really guilty of this, and now that I've gone through it, I'm not as much, but I started out as a software developer, and then I went into product management, which is sort of like in big, you know what it is, but for audience, it's like in the bigger corporate place, it's sort of the people that get to be the strategy of how to market things, but don't actually do any of the fun creative side.
Right.
And so I think all the people in product will be like, oh, those creative people don't do anything. And all the people in creative are like, no, we do creative work, but what kind of weird strategy are you dreaming up? And then you get out on your own and you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. I mean, it's not just slapping a cool looking logo on a website and walking away, right? It's so much more than that.
Yes.
So if you were to give tips, just like some high level tips to audience people who have their own business, like small, medium sized business, what are some of the most common, I'm going to say mistakes, but the most common things that they could address that would help their brand that people miss easily? Like they always spell everything wrong or something like that. Is there some common mistakes that you see in your work?
A common mistake is when people say, I need a logo. The logo in itself, there's just so much more to it. Yes, you might need a logo, but you need the brand, like you need the full picture. So it's more than just a logo. It's colors, fonts, patterns, images, your voice. It's how you're being portrayed and how people view you on the outside. I mean, I always tell people when you think about branding, you think about the big names like Apple, Panera, like you get the same experience, you get the same stuff, like it's all consistent and cohesive no matter which Panera you go to, no matter which Apple store you go to. You might not be as big as them, but you definitely want to have that same consistency in your brand so that it creates that professionalism for your audience so that they know what they're getting. So it's not just, hey, I want a logo. It's, hey, I need a brand. I need my imaging. I need all of these things. It's not just putting your logo, like you said, on the website. There's so much more to the website. You have to do the copy and make sure that you're updating it and SEO, and having all of that pipeline into your business really is a brand, and it's considered a part of your logo. It's your identity. So
I think I don't know if I've heard this before, but what came up for me when you were saying all that is I feel like if you're just worrying about the logo, then like that's fine. I mean, people like their logos and you're just starting out, but I feel like the brand is the promise you make to your customers, and it helps, and it's the thing that allows you to have trust and credibility because they know you told them this is how you're showing up in the world, and then the brand is you showing up the way you said you would. So it's like
exactly. I feel like that's pretty spot on for sure. Yeah.
The consistency between words and deeds, right? Otherwise it's, well, you know, then they're like, oh, whose website is this? Oh, that doesn't look like Vision2Images.
Right.
It looks like
exactly.
Cool.
That's the same. Yeah, that's exactly what I tell people. Like if somebody goes to your website and then they go to your social media and they don't see the same stuff, they're going to click away and be like, did I go to the same company? So, I mean, making that consistent and cohesive and really making sure that people can identify that. So
the confused mind does what? Nothing, right?
Yeah, nothing. They go away and they go to your competitor.
Yeah, exactly. That's interesting. I love it. So, is there anything that you are promoting right now, or anything specifically you would like to make sure people know about what you're doing in your company?
Yeah, you asked me earlier about the branding workbook. I'll talk about that for a second.
Great.
That is, I mean, I don't even know. I think it's like 6-7 pages. It's been a minute since I've looked at it, but it consists of a lot of stuff. Like it takes you through colors, how colors are subliminal messages. So people, like when you go to the ER and it's red, like it means a sense of urgency. So having different colors in your brand mean different things. So I really kind of try to help people see things differently through their brand and kind of really get their minds thinking. So there's a bunch of like little exercises, I guess you can call them, and kind of questions, and who is your audience, and do you know what your fonts are? Do you know these things? Like really diving in to see if you know what your business and brand is and where you want to go. And from there, you know, you can either do it yourself, whatever, ask me questions, hire, whatever. So there's, I mean, it's a freebie, so you should completely download it. And then as far as promoting, a lot of stuff happening. But probably the biggest thing is like strategy sessions where just helping businesses really understand their brand and where they need to go, where they are, and how to get there, just kind of really diving in, like I said, it's a one-on-one pretty much thing, a strategy session, and then giving you an agenda, a timeline, my thoughts. I can do competitive analysis. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I look at and kind of see where you are and how to get there. And then from there, you can do it all yourself. You can do whatever. Like, we're not tied together at that point, but it helps you get yourself in that right track of where you need to go. So
how would someone book a strategy session with you? Is there a link on your website, or do you want to put something in the link to the podcast, or what?
They just go to my website. It says like hire me, so they can just click on that, and it literally just asks for your name and your email, and then I'll reach out to them as with my automations and stuff. So yeah. We'll figure it out from there.
That marketing stuff will happen in the back that nobody knows about.
Exactly.
Super marketing magic.
If you didn't get the freebie, you're going to get it too.
Yeah, I'm excited about getting all of the free stuff. It's wonderful. So I really appreciate your time today. And I know what you're doing is important work, both at home and in the office.
Yes.
And if you want to share any other things with the audience, just let us know, and we'll let you know when things are published on our podcast. Thank you again for joining me today. And any other last words you want to leave the listeners with?
No, I think that's a lot of everything.
All the everything.
Okay, everything.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I look forward to talking to you again soon.
All right. Bye. Thank you. Bye.